Ich bin gewesen in siebenten Himmel. I was in the seventh heaven. Die Bretter und Belkes haben geschmeckt mit alle gute Reches von frisch geschnitten Holz. The boards, the beams, they were fragrant with all the good odors of newly cut wood. Die Bäuer haben gesägt, angezeichnet mit der Strickel, angerieben in Keul. Die Kletzer und Balkens, gegraben Gräber, gelegt Fundamenten. The builders were sawing. They were measuring out with a rope, with a string. They were rubbing with most likely this is a black pencil, coil. And the boards and the beams, that's what they were rubbing them. Maybe that means using a plane, I'm not sure. They were digging holes and they were setting out foundations.
Sorry, what page are we in the book? I didn't get it.
It's page 158 in the book.
Okay, thank you.
Second major paragraph.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Ich bin gesessen wie ein Scheimer, gehit das Gehilz und gekriegt sich mit die zwei Hefgerjungen, Feivischl und Schleime. Wir seien gekommen, weg schleppen, a Leistel, a Schindel. I was there just as a guard. I was watching the lumber, and I was fighting with the two Hefgerjungen, lads who had nothing else to do, Feivish and Schleime, who came to drag away a leg or a shingle. Das Haus is gewachsen wie auf Haven. The house they were building, it grew as if rising with yeast. Eder man hat sich herumgeguckt, seine gestanden Wand und Krokves und ein Dach und ausgeschnittene Löcher auf Tieren und Fenster und Keimen. Before you could look around, there were the walls standing, and there were the krokves, the rafters, the wooden beams, and a roof. And there were holes cut out for doors and windows, and for a chimney. Zusammen mit dem Haus is gewachsen mein Glück. Along with the house, my joy increased. Von Lernen is given abgerät. There was no need to talk about studying. Mit allerlei Terutzim habe ich nicht reingeschmeckt in Cheder. Giving all sorts of excuses, I didn't let myself be smelled. I didn't show up at all in the Cheder. Wie gicht die Simche is gekommen in unser Stub, zu lieb dem Haus, was me beut, also gich is angekommen die Enttäuschung. As quickly as the joy arrived at our house because of this house that they're building, that's how quickly the disappointment arrived. Man hat gedarft jetzt Ziegel aufzumachen Kirchen, Ovens und Keimen. They needed now bricks to make stoves, ovens, and a chimney. Man hat gedarft Klamkes und Schweckes und Scheiben und unaschier andere Sachen. They needed doorknobs and nails and window panes and countless other things. Man hat gedarft Dingen Muljares und in Stub is kein Groschen nicht gewesen. They had to hire Muljares, bricklayers.
Muljares?
A muljar is a mason, a bricklayer.
Okay.
And there was not a penny in the house. Der Tate hat sich schon azoi euch gehabt verschuldigt bei nehmen Halvoas aufzuzollen die Bäuer, die Schindelleger. Father had already gone into debt to take loans to pay for the builders and the roof layers, the shingle setters. Dazu haben sich genommen Unterrücken die Regens und Schneien. Und die Bäuer haben gesagt, als man kann nicht so lassen stehen, das Haus, weil es wird sich reinchappen Feuchtigkeiten in die Wand. Also, it began to be rainy and there was snow. The builders said that you can't just let the house stand like this because it'll get damp in the walls. Der Tate, wie sein Steger es gewesen, hat gehabt betochen und geteinet. But father, just as his custom was, he had, he was, how am I going to translate betochen? He had confidence or trust. And he argued, es wird schon mit Gottes Hilfe sein Recht. It'll be okay with God's help. Aber die Mama, die ewige Sorgerin, ist umgegangen chäuschig, verdeigert. But mother, who was always a worrier, she went around with a black mood, and she was worried. Wie Tomed in Azafal hat die Mama a weggeschrieben a Brief zum Seiden wegen Hilfe. As often in such a case, mother wrote a letter to grandpa about some assistance. Der Tate hat geschickt kartlich zu sein Mutter, der Baba Temele in Tomashov. And father wrote postcards to his mother, Grandma Temele, who lived in Tomashov. Sie haben zugeschickt a bissel Geld, and they sent over a little bit of money. Reb Yeshua, der Nogid, hat euch zugelegt a Plätze. And Mr. Yeshua, the rich fellow, he also added in, he set his shoulder. That is, he assisted us with some help. Nach Kreuzetzores und Kapdreanischen und Deiges hat man genommen verendigen das Haus. After a lot of troubles and worries, and well, Kapdreanischen and Deiges mean about the same thing, worries, they began to finish the house. Erst für die kommendicke Yomim Noraim haben wir sich hereingezogen in der eigene Nachla. Finally, it was only before the next high holidays that we moved into our own inheritance, Nachla, our own place. Was hat geblanket von Neuigkeit, which was gleaming with newness. Ich bin gewen äußer sich von Naches. I was beside myself with pleasure. Nach Sukkos habe ich genommen a Riddel und herumgegraben die Erde, die Grundseilen von unser Heisel. Wie es tun alle Balabotim, was wollen beschützen ihre Stuben gegen Regen und Schnee. After Sukkos, I took a riddle.
Shovel.
What is it, a shovel?
A shovel, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I dug around in the ground around the Grundseilen. I guess this would be the foundation posts of our little house, as owners of houses do, who want to protect their houses against rain and snow. Aber ich bin nicht gewohnt gewesen, schwere Arbeit, but I was unaccustomed to such difficult work. Und also, wie ich hab mir nicht gewollt noch geben und gearbeitet über die Keuches, hat sich mir verdreht der Kopf und mir ist nicht gut geworden. I wasn't accustomed to such difficult work, and since I didn't want to give in and not do this work, that was actually over my ability. I twisted my head and I became unwell. Aber ich hab sich geschämt zu beweisen mit meiner Schwachkeit, but I was embarrassed to display my
Weakness.
thank you, weakness. Und hab sich weggelegt auf der Erde, and I lay down on the ground. Keiner soll mich nicht sehen, so no one would see me. Die Mama hat mich gefunden auf der Challischten und reingetragen in den Stube. Mother found me in a faint, and I was the one in the faint, not she. And she brought me into she carried me into the house. Mit der Zeit habe ich sich zugewohnt und getan alle Arbeiten darum Haus. With time, I became accustomed to the work, and I did all the work around the house. Mein Vater, a weicher und ausgezertelter, was hat nicht gewusst, wie soll a Schwocker reinzuschlagen in der Wand, hat nicht gekannt leiden, was ich vernehm sich mit der selche grobe Maloches. My father, who was a softie and a gentle person, he had no idea how to drive a nail into a wall. He couldn't bear the fact that I was being so busy with such vulgar work. Das ist nicht für dir, hat gesagt. Man darf beten Emerson, soll es tun für uns. That's not your sort of work, he said. We should ask someone to do it for us. My Mutter hat mir zugegeben Courage, but my mother gave me courage. Okay, Yankel.
Okay. Gut also, tu jeder Sach, nur vergisst nicht von der Teira, hat sie gesagt. Sei nicht kein Battlen. So, okay, do everything, but don't forget about learning Torah, she said. Don't be idle.
Can I ask a question here? The Battlen ist seiner Battlen bei nicht lernen oder nicht arbeiten mit den Händen. What is the Battlen?
It's, I think, nicht lernen.
Nicht lernen, okay.
Because he's doing the work around the house. So the Batlonis, I think, is as far as learning Torah is concerned.
Thank you. Okay.
Sie hat gemeint damit zu geben an unzuhörnisch, dem Taten für sein Batlonis. So she meant by this to give a hint to my father for his ineptitude. Die Mama fleckt euch dem Taten nicht losen, mir verbinden dem Hals mit a keschene Patschela in a kalten Tag, auf was hat stark medaktig gewesen. So my mother also didn't allow me to enwrap my throat in a handkerchief on a cold day.
She didn't let father put that on me.
Oh, correct.
Right. Lassen mir verbinden, to tie it on me.
Yeah,
Yes,
euch
the
dem
father.
Taten nicht lassen mir verbinden. It didn't allow father to tie it on me. Yes.
Right, correct. Was hat stark mit, which he was very particular about doing. Die Schwieger hat dich gekeulet mit ihr keschene Patschela mit welcher sie fleckt Tomid herumbinden das Hälsele, hat sie gesagt. Zulieb der Keschene Patschela leid ich die Kinder ganz leben. So my mother-in-law ruined you
Ruined you, yes.
with this handkerchief story, with which she used all the time wrap around your throats. She said, because of this handkerchief, I and the children suffer our whole lives. Ich verlieb sich in a Weibel, was ist zweimal so alt wie ich. So I fall in love with a woman who was twice my age. Krumm gedreht und geschlängelt wie a Ritschke zwischen Steiner ist gelaufen mein englisch Leben. Gegen alle der Erwartungen von meinen Eltern und Städtele Balabatin, was haben gewollt sehen in mir dem Muster von einem leitisch Kind, was darf gehen in Derech HaYosher. So crooked, twisted and winding like a brook between the stones, my young life ran against the expectations of my parents and the town Balabatim, the town wealthy homeowners, who wanted to see me as a model of a respectable child who should go along the straight and narrow path. Ich bin nicht gewinn kein unfähig Engel. I wasn't an incompetent young child. Bei 10 Jahren habe ich schon gelernt Gemorre mit Tosfos. Und nicht beim Lamdim, nur bei jedem Lomdim, was haben gelernt mit mir und Beleunung. At 10 years old, I was already learning Gemara with the Tosfos commentary on the Talmud. And not with, I didn't learn with teachers, but with learned Jews who studied with me without payment. Ich hab gehad etliche azelche Melamdim, was haben a Sach mi und Zeit gepattert auf mir, aber ich bin sehr nicht gewinn dankbar für sehr Lehrer. I had several teachers like this who who wasted a lot of time on me, but I wasn't thankful for their learning, their teaching. Ich hab nicht lieb gehabt die Gemorra, nicht gehabt dem Kopf zu Tosfos und Maharsha und Maharam Schiff und zu alle anderen Perushim, mit welcher es seinen Gewinn ungepickt die Chancen von meinen Lehrern. So I didn't love the Gemara. I didn't have the head, the concentration for Tosfos and for the Maharsha and Maharam Shif. These are commentaries on the Talmud.
Maharsha's Shmuel Eliezer Halevi Edels.
Okay, right, and Maharam Shif is Meir ben Yaakov HaKoyen. Both of them, the Edels lived in the 1555 to 1631, and Maharam Shif lived from 1608 to 1644. So these Meforshim and all the other interpretations with which the Shas, the Talmud, was crammed, the Talmud of my teachers was crammed. Mein erster Umsister Rebbe is gewesen Rebbe Hindes. My first free teacher was Rebbe Hindes. Schon von dem, was man hat dem Jid gerufen, vernommen von sein Weib, Hinder, kann man sich mischaer sein, als das ist gewinn der Fall, was sein Weib ist gewinn die Parnossegeberin, nicht er. So already, because of the fact that he was called after his wife, Hinder, one can surmise that this was because his wife was the person who brought the livelihood and not him. Bereshel hat gar nicht gewusst in der Schnittkrom, was Hinder hat geführt. Bereshel knew nothing about the fashion shop.
A dry goods store.
The dry goods store that Hinder ran. Hat nicht gekannt kein Wort Polish oder Schwabisch, was Kremer haben gemusst kennen bei uns in Mischer mit die polnische und deutsche Königin. He knew not a single word of Polish or Schwabish or German, which a shopkeeper had needed to know when he dealt with Polish and German customers. Hat mehr gehabt zu stehen und leben keinete. He was afraid to stand too close to a lady customer. Das Mischer hat geführt Hinder, a fleischig Weibel mit runde Glieder, mit a blendendicke, heller Haut und mit a blond Scheitel auf dem Kopf. The business was run by Hinder, a portly woman with round limbs and with dazzling clear or bright skin, and with a blonde scheitel on her head. Ot die Hinder is gewinn ein Stück gesund. This Hinder was a very robust woman. Ihre rote Backen haben tomid geflammt. Ihre volle Lippen haben tomid geschmeichelt. Her red cheeks were flaming always, and her full lips always were smiling. Die Koinim haben sie lieb gehabt für ihr Gutmütigkeit, and the customers liked her for her geniality. Sie ist euch gewinn a Weibel a Beria, She was also a very efficient woman. Sie pflegt alle etliche Wochen vorn mit Fuhrken waschen und bringen allerlei farbige Scheires, was sie pflegt kriegen auf Kredit bei die Warschewe Seuchrim. She would travel every other week with a wagon to Warsaw, and she would bring back all sorts of colored goods, materials, which she would buy on credit by the Warsaw tradespeople. Okay. Rochel?
Okay. Ja. Wie gesund, wie kerndick und bergesdick. Und die hinter ist gewinn, also ist ihr Mann berischel gewinn a Cholos, da und war. As much as this Hinda was healthy, energetic, capable, her husband was a weakling, skinny, and emaciated. Mit a größer Gerge, mit a schlimasselig Bärdl, was ist nicht gewachsen gleich, nur in Bindlach, also wie man wollt zugechappet Bindlach Haar zu die Backen und nicht auf den richtigen Ort. So he had a big throat. I guess it's here that part of the throat.
The Adam's apple.
The Adam's apple. Okay, thank you. Yeah. With a beard that is like the beard is a shlimas, like the beard was a loser.
A very sparse beard, I think.
What were you saying? I'm sorry, they're working here, so I don't hear. Yeah, what did you say?
A sparse beard.
Okay. Was is nicht given? It wasn't straight, but in knots, as if they were tying together knots of hair into his cheeks and not at the right place. Sein Kohl is given din und schwach. So his voice was skinny and weak. Wie bei einer kranken Redene, just like a sick Jewish woman would have. Is given as a Schlemiel, as vielleicht den auf die gleiche Wand, anschlagen sich in Tieren und in Chafatzim, fallen über a Streu. He was such a loser that he used to even walk on straight walls and to bump into doors and into things and to fall over straw, I forgot.
Straw, a piece of straw.
Straw, of course, yeah. A viele in Besser Midrash beim Davenen hat sich damit verspätigt und wenn der Hasen mit alle Davener haben schon gehalten weiter in die Tfiles, fleckt Berischl sich losen Herren mit der Posuk von einer freierdicke Tfile. Even in the study house, during during the service, the prayer service, he was always late. And when the cantor and all the congregants were already ahead in the prayers, it is only then that Berishel allowed people who was being heard with a verse from a previous prayer. Dabei hat herausgesagt die Wörter auf a Beikol und mit a weinendicken weiberischen Nigen, was hat die Rederingler allemal auf Schnei gemacht lachendig. Now, when he was singing the prayer, so he said the words in it's like a falsetto voice, a voice that is higher than his range, and it sound I guess thinner than his regular voice, and it was with a weeping female chant that would make all the header boys once again it would cause them to laugh. Gewöhnlich fleckt stehen in a Winkel und schocklen sich stark. Like habitually, he would stand in a corner and shake strongly. Dabei fleckt oft reinweinen in Winkel rein und viele schlagen sich Kopf und Wand. Now, as he was doing this, he would cry into a corner and even hit his head into the wall. Now, this expression has different meanings, but he I think it's just literally so. He hit his head into the wall. Überhaupt bei treuerige Tfiles, is given a größer Weiner, a Balbechi, wie man hat es gerufen bei ihnen. Particularly at sad prayers. He was a big crier. A Balbechi is the same thing again. Somebody that cries, a big crier. But that's from Hebrew. Women had gerufen bei ihnen, like they were calling somebody like that among the Jews, a Balbechi. Der Talis pflegt sich ihm oft herabglitschen von die darre gebeugene Achseln. The Talis used to often slide down down his bend down shoulders. Die Amelke pflegt sich im Verrücken in der Seite. Der Gartel pflegt sich im nicht halten auf seine flache, darre Lenden. uh, the belt would not hold on his hips, on his skinny hips. Flache I didn't find.
Flach is flat or shallow or level. Here it's, I think, flat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought that. Yeah, I don't know. The dictionary didn't give it, but anyway, yeah. The belt was running down his hips. No, Eltern von jenem do haben gekannt zu neu. Okay. Now, no Eltern von jenem do haben gekannt zu neu fahren od die joderdicke Hinde, a Tochter von Deures Dorfsiden, mit od dem Cholosh und Shlumiel Berischl. It's only parents from the past generation that could put together this robust Hinde, a daughter of many generations of country Jews, kind of peasants, with this weakling and loser Berishel, an Oremer Yeshiva Bocher, a poor Yeshiva boy. Ich bin noch gewähnt zu jung zu wissen, wie soll das Zusammenleben zwischen dem modernen Vorvolk hat sich geklebt. I was too young to know how that togetherness between this strange couple, how it occurred. Aber ich hab gekannt die zwei Kinder, was das Vorvolk hat gehabt. Eins von anderen mit ein Jahr gerückt und wo seinen der Zeugen geworden mehr von Vater wie von der Mutter. But I knew these two kids that this couple had. One was younger by a year from the other one. And both of them were really brought up more by the father than by the mother. Okay, refer.
Good. Die Mutter hat nicht gehabt keine Zeit zu den Kindern, weil sie hat gemusst reinbringen die Parnasse in Stube rein. Their mother had no time for those children because she had to bring in the money into the house. Wenn sie vielleicht fahren kein Warsche nach Schreire, wenn sie vielleicht sein vernommen in der Schnittkram mit keinem, ist Berischel gesessen und zugewiegt die Kinder in die Wieglach. When she used to travel to Warsaw for merchandise, when she would be busy in the dry goods store with the customers, it was Berischel who was sitting and rocking the children in their cradles. But die Arbeit hat getan mit dem Fuß. This particular job he did with his foot. Mit dem Kopf is dabei gewesen reingetan in der Gemorre. But with his head, he was meanwhile busying himself in the Talmud, was hat nicht aufgehört lernen bei Tag und bei Nacht, which he never stopped studying day and night. Dem jungen Mann ist gar nicht mies geworden zu lernen. Und Talmud dieselbe Masechtes von Kodshim, was haben Satan mit Schechten Carbonis. This young man, he never became bored. It never became unpleasant for him to study. It was always the same tractate, the Tractate of Kodshim, which has to do with slaughtering of sacrifices. Brennen und Brotten, Ochsen und Schof und ähnliche Sachen. Burning and roasting oxen and sheep and such things. Verwas dem schwachen jungen Mannschick, was hat mamisch nicht gekannt anrühren kein Flieg auf der Wand, hat so gezeugen zu lernen wegen Schächten und Brennen und Dämpen und Räuchern, weiß ich nicht. How it came to such a weak young man who actually couldn't even touch a fly on the wall, how he was so drawn to study about slaughtering and burning and cooking and smoking. I have no idea. Aber ist gewähnt, but that's how it was. Hat gehabt eine gewaltige Schwachkeit zu die Masechtes, wie Zwochim, Menachos, Chulin, Pchores, and andere. But he had an amazing weakness to these particular tractates about the sacrifices. These are various things in Seder Taurus, I think. Masechtas of Zvachim is sacrifices. Menachos is mincha. That's another kind of sacrifice. Chulin is kosher food. Bechoros, firstborn, and others. Ot der Bereshel hat nicht Jöitze gewähnt mit bloß allein lernen, nur hat gewollt ton die Mitzvah von Lernen mit anderen, teure. For this Berish, it wasn't enough for he didn't satisfy the mitzvah only of studying, but he also wanted to do this mitzvah of teaching other people Torah. Und hat vorgelehnt, mein Vater, soll mich schicken zu ihm in Stub lernen. And he suggested to my father to send me to him into his house to study. Mein Vater is gewinnt zufrieden. My father was happy about this. Warum Gott allein vielleicht mehr euch lernen, hat aber nicht gekannt, abgeben mir genug Zeit darauf. Because even though he used to also study with me, he was unable to have enough time for me for this. Weil is gewähnt vernommen mit Schreiben seiner Chedushim, Tag und Nacht, because my father was busy writing his commentaries, his novel interpretations day and night. Rebbe is a Yireh Shemayim und a Masmid, hat mein Vater mir gesagt. Mr. Berish, he is God-fearing and he is a continual studier, my father told me. Wirst haben bei ihm a große Pule im Lernen und du darfst sein zufrieden zu sein Talmud. You're going to have a great success in studying with him and you should be happy to be his student. Ich bin nicht gewinnt zufrieden, but I wasn't so happy. Mir ist sehr wenig angegangen, wie sei keinem in Jerusalem mit 2000 Jahren zurück haben gespritzt Blut auf den Mizbeach. It wasn't so important to me how the priests in Jerusalem 2000 years ago used to sprinkle blood on the altar. Gebrannt ganz oper und halb oper, how they would burn the entire offerings or the half offerings, und gegessen Fleisch von Carbonis, and they would eat the meat from the sacrifices. Noch weniger haben mich interessiert die alle Kashes und Teruzim und Pshatlach von Tosfos und Maharshal und die alle anderen Meforshim. Even less was interesting to me, all of these questions and answers and explanations of the Tosfos, the commentaries, grandchildren of Rashi, and we've already mentioned the Maharsha and the Maharshal, and all these other commentaries, commentators. Das Lernen ist euch gewinn schwer, weil die Lerner haben srov nicht gehabt kein System, kein Methode. And the study was also difficult because the teachers generally had no particular system or method. Sie haben nicht gekannt, nicht die Zeit, nicht den Eufen und Logik und Hintergrund von der alten Lehre. They didn't know about the time, the manner, the logic, the background of this old study. Ich habe zu jener Zeit davon nicht gewusst. I'm not sure how to translate that. I, at that point, didn't know about what? About that ancient epoch, I think. Das habe ich sich erst gewusst später, wenn ich habe genommen lernen als solche Werk wie Dor ve Dor Shav von Talmudist Isaac Hirsch, Weiss, and andere. I only became aware of that later when I started to study such works as Generation and Its Generation of Talmudist Isaac Hirsch, Weiss, and others. Aber schein bei meine 10 Jahren habe ich gesehen, als die Malamdim meine haben sich geplontert in der Gemara. But even when I was only 10 years old, I could already see that my teachers were getting lost in the Gemara. Gedreht sich. They were twirling. Geblunget. They were wandering lost. Gemacht sich allein schwer. Und noch schwerer, ihre Talmidim. They were making it hard for themselves and making it even harder for their children, for their students. Bei sein ganzer Hasmoda hat Reberischel upon him gehat a schweren Kopf, weil fliegt mamisch weinen bei die schwere Ärter in Chulin. Even in his entire Hasmoda, continual study, Reberischel, clearly, he had a difficult time. He had a hard head. It was hard for him because he would actually cry when he came to the hard, difficult places in Tractate Chulin. Reiben sich dem verschwitzten Stern. He would rub his sweaty forehead in Greus Horavania und betten sich bei mir. He would rub his sweaty forehead in his great Horavania toil, and he would request by me, Oy vey mir, gaat nicht. Woe is me, don't go so fast. Mir ist vielen nicht eingefallen zu chappen, die Torah. Now, I didn't even imagine that I would that I would race through the Torah. Was ist mir in der Remesen in der linker Pehe nicht gekrochen, which, truth be told, wasn't interesting to me at all. It didn't creep into my left-hand sidelock. Ich habe sich emes ausgelernt die schwere Blätter Gemorre, aber ich habe sie herabgeschlungen via bittere Medizin. True, I was able to study these difficult pages of Gemara, but I swallowed it as if it were bitter medicine. Mit mein ganzen Wesen bin ich gewesen in Dreußen. Gierig nach Freiheit, Erd, Wasser, Behemoths, Menschen, Bewegung und Leben. With my entire being, I would rather have been in the outdoors. I was eager for freedom, earth, water, cattle, people, movement, life. Reberischel hat hastig gewigt, die weinendicke Kinder und sich gebeten bei sie. Reberischel would hastily rock the crying children, and he would request, Schlaf, seid mir nicht mevatel die Torah. Go to sleep already, and don't waste my time so that I I can devote myself to Torah. Okay.
Okay. Die Kinder in die Wiggelach haben nicht gewollt schlafen zu lieb dem Teure. The children in the cradles didn't want to sleep despite the Torah, the learning. Sie haben gewollt a Reus von der Wig, von Bett gewandt, in welchen sie seinen Gewinn eingepäckelt. They wanted to get out of the cradle and out of the bedclothes in which they were wrapped up. Der Vater hat sie verstübt, die weinendike Meiliglich mit a Fläschel Milch, mit a Statke mit Zucker, mit was es hat sich gelost. Their father wanted to stuff their crying little mouths with a bottle of milk.
A pacifier. Yeah, go ahead.
No, a bottle of milk.
Right.
Fläschel Milch. With a rag with sugar on it. Mit was es hat sich, or whatever he had to hand. Wenn die Eifelig Fleggen nass machen in Wigel, fleckt Reberischel a Rufkissen a bissel Wasser auf die nasse Windeln, weil anders hat man nicht getort lernen, leben an rein Wigel. When the little ones would wet the cradle, Reberischel would pour a bit of water over the wet diaper or swaddling clothes, because otherwise he wouldn't have been able to carry on learning when there was next to the soiled cradle. Das ist gewinn als was ist ihm umgegangen. That's all that bothered him. Wenn die Kinder pflegen sich schon gar zu weinen, pflegt sie umgeschickt rausnehmen von die Wiggelach und wiegen sie in seine Dare Orms. So when the children were crying really very loudly, he would clumsily take them out of the cradle, and he would rock them in his thin arms. Zu singendig mit a weiberisch Keulichel. An, oh, Aililu, Aililu. So he would sing to them with a woman-like voice. Aililu, Aililu. Wenn Hinder is gewinn in Krom, fleckt a reinrufen. Sie a reinrufen, einzustillen die Kinder. When Hinder was in the store, he would call her in to quieten the children. Hinder fleckt sehr berjestig Überbetten die wiggelig, verspreiten frische Windlich und in mein Gegenwart öffnen die Bluske, aufdecken ihr große milchweiße Brust und bespritzen von Reute angeschwollene Nippel etliche Tropfens Milch auf die kindische Meiliglich. So, Hinder would skillfully remake the beds and the swaddling clothes, and she would spread out fresh swaddling clothes, and in my presence, she would open her blouse and expose her large milk white breasts and express from the red swollen nipples several drops of milk onto the children's little mouths. Eider sie hat sie gegeben Segen. So she would do that before she would nurse them. Das weiberische milchweiße Leib hat stark zerrüttet meine englische Machshavas. Hagam, ich hab noch sehr verneppelte Ahnung gehabt von Geschlechtssachen. Her feminine milk white body had strongly disturbed my childlike thoughts, even though I only had a very nebulous concept about Geschlechtssachen,
sexual matters.
Sexual matters. Liegendig übergelegt über ihre Kinder in Wiggle, wie Achaia beim Segen ihrer Seglings, hat Hinder geteinet. So leaning over, bent over her children in the cradle, like an animal who was suckling her sucklings. Hinder complained, Bereshel, geh rein zu die Koinem in Gewölb. Bereshel, go into the shop to the customers. Bereshel fleckt reingehen, aber hat gar nicht gewusst, was zu reden mit die Koinem. Bereshel used to go into the shop, but he didn't know how to speak to the customers. Hat keinmal nicht gewollt auflegen, kein Schall auf a Goyers Achseln, nor a Wurf gegeben ihr die Schall von der Weitens zum Verdruss von die Koinetes. He never wanted to place a shawl on the Gentile woman's shoulders, but he would throw it. He would throw the shawl from a distance, to the dismay of these lady customers. Als sie fleckt nicht kennen, reinrufen kein Koine in Krumm. And in the same way, he never could invite a customer into the shop. wie sein Hinder hat ihm gelernt, as Hinder tried to teach him. Anstatt rufen Koinetes mit dem Mäul, hat gerufen mit dem Weißfinger, wie man ruft ein Kind zu sich. Instead of inviting a customer in verbally, he would call them with his index finger in the way that one calls a child to one. Die Goyes pflegen lachen von ihm. Die Goyim haben Häuser gemacht von ihm. Überschreckendig ihm mit a hintisch Billerei, von was Berschel pflegt a Sprungton von Schreck, wer wollt der sehen für sich an Emerson Hund. So the Gentile women would laugh at him. The Gentiles mocked him, and they alarmed him with a dog-like bark. And Berish would jump at this from in fright, as if he had seen in front of him a real dog. Wei is meer, hat gekloppt mit sein weiberisch Kolchel. Oi wei, he exclaimed with his high-pitched feminine-like voice. Hinder fleckt him a reinschicken zurück in Stube rein, and Hinder would send him back into the house. Geh, geh, wieg die Kinder, hat sie ihm gesagt. Mitlachendig mit die Koinim, was haben sich gedreht in Drehen von Spaß, von Spott über ihr Mann. Go to the children, she would say to him, laughing together with the customers who were bent over in their mirth about her husband. Bereshel is Gicharois von die Arelim. Und zugehabt sich mit der frischen Brenn zu die Carbones, in welche ist gewinn klar und eigen, wie wollte sie gehabt in Keshena. So Bereshel quickly went away from the Gentiles and returned with renewed strength to the sacrifices. About which he looked at them with clarity, as if they belonged to him, as if he had them in his pocket. Oi wei mir, leg zu dem Kopf zu der Teure, hat sich gebeten bei mir. Gaat nicht. So concentrate on the Torah. He would beg me, don't go fast.